こんにちは、先生。
はい、こんにちは。Just wait a couple minutes while everyone's entering.
こんにちは。
はい、こんにちは。
こんにちは。
はい、こんにちは。
こんにちは、先生。
はい、こんにちは。Hi, everybody online. Remember, please leave your videos on. お願いします。Oh, it's so silent.
はい、マム、こんにちは。
はい、こんにちは。
こんにちは、先生。
はい、こんにちは。始めましょう。Okay, I think we can start. So
こんに
I
ち
was
は、先生。
はい、こんにちは。I was just telling everybody here in the audience about this. I'm just going to move the camera around a bit and see if it's visible. ちょっと見えますかね? I don't think it's very visible just yet, but we have some decorations that we've done over here in the classroom. We have an event tomorrow for Kodomo no Hi, that is Children's Day in Japan. It's always the 5th of May. And every year at Hayakawa, we do some event or the other to celebrate. It's one of the most important national holidays of Japan. It's to celebrate the long life and prosperity of children in a particular household. So we've got these decorations over here, and we've got all the illustrations submitted by various people for the illustration contest. The results will be announced tomorrow. So if you have submitted, you can keep your ears and eyes peeled for that. If you're in town, you're welcome to drop in for the event. It is a cosplay event. So if those of you who like to dress up as characters and things like that, it would be fantastic. You could participate. Yes, it's a very lively, energetic event. Last year, a couple of you were there. I think you remember. It was very nice, very colorful. Hi. So with that, today I think we can get started. We've done a lot of kana, right? Hiragana, katakana, last couple of weeks. So today I'm not going to start with any review or anything. I hope everybody is 100% confident with hiragana. Yes, everyone online? 100% with hiragana. Can you give me a thumbs up?
Hi.
Yes. Yes, okay. Very good. Yes, I'm requesting the others, please turn on your videos. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
How about 70% with katakana? You can give me a thumbs up. At least 70% with katakana. Yes? Yes, one or two of you? Okay, so katakana does take time. It's okay, but please work on that too. If you're ready with hiragana, then you can shift your focus. In the next 1 week or 10 days or so, you can focus on katakana and also get at least 70 to 90%. You have to get there. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult moving forward. So today, as I was just telling everyone here, you're going to need this textbook, the long one, right? We're going to start off with the first lesson in the textbook. But before that, we still need to see some small materials. We're going to quickly look at that and then dive into the lesson. So you can take out your, what's the word for textbook? Does anyone? Hon is good, very good. Hon is book. I don't think we did textbook, we did classroom. Classroom is?
教室。
Yes. 教室, right? 教室. Yeah. So in 教室, you have two parts actually. 教 means teaching, education. And 室 means room, right? Any kind of room. You often add 室 as a suffix to talk about rooms of different types. We'll be seeing that soon. The reason I'm telling you this is because the word for a textbook is 教科書. You can repeat it.
教科
教科書.
Kyokaso.
Kyokato.
Exactly. The kyo in kyokasho is the same kyo in kyoshitsu. They actually have the same meaning. That kyo means education, teaching, instruction. And it's actually what's written here in kanji. By the end of the course, you will be able to read all these kanji. Okay, so the first, you have to read, this is top-down style kanji, right? You have to read top-down and move from right to left. So this is actually Nihongo Kyokasho. That's what it says. Japanese language textbook. So this is going to be your main textbook going forward. Kana workbook and kanji workbook, those are mostly something you'll work on at home. Kanji, when we first start learning, you will have to bring the kanji workbook just for the first few lessons. Maybe we start in lesson 4. Till about lesson 10, we will do kanji in class. Then afterwards, it's going to be learning at home for you because you'll see eventually kanji is pretty one way. There's not a lot of teaching to do in kanji once you know how the system works. Whereas this you're going to need in every class. So please make sure you have it. Now let's go ahead and flip over here. I'm going to go past the hiragana and katakana pages. And you have page 6 over here with the numbers, some words, and then you have the characters. I'd like to read these together with everyone. Yes? Just for practice, we'll start first with the characters on page 7. What is the word given on top for characters? Can you try to read it?
Suji.
The word on top. これです. This on top? Yes. Tojo. Jin. To is elongated, right? That is the O sound elongated with U. To, then jo, also elongated. Tojo, Jin, Butsu.
Utsu.
So Tojo Jimbutsu, actually, it's a very complex word. You don't need to know it at this level, but that's just for reading practice. So I asked you to read it. It's like, you know, when you watch plays or read a script, a film script or something, they have this list in the beginning, list of characters or cast of characters. They also say dramatis personae. This is like that. Tojo Jimbutsu is like that. It's a very formal, very jargon kind of word. You don't need to know. But just for reading practice, I asked you to read. Now let's know all of the characters here. I think we already went through once, but just in case. We have 3 Japanese characters on top. Let's go from left to right. The first woman is? Hai.
Tanaka.
Yes. Now we are not Tanaka. So when we say her name, we should add? San. Yes. The first person is Tanaka-san. Hai.
Awesome.
Tanaka-san. Is this her first name or her last name?
Last name.
Very good. This would be her family name, her last name, right? Because that's the custom. We don't know. We didn't bother. It's there. It's not there in the textbook. For the Indians, we don't know their last name. For the Japanese, we don't know their first name. So this is Tanaka-san. Hi. It happens a lot. There are many common family names. So in that case, people come up with a way to identify which Tanaka-san are you talking about. It varies from place to place. That being said, although there are common names, it's not so common. If you go to Japan, you will see that people have different last names. We've just picked some easy ones because this is a basic level. What about the next person?
Suzuki-san.
Suzuki.
Hi.
Suzuki.
Suzuki-san. Yeah, Suzuki-san. Hi. And the third person is?
Hayashi.
Classic.
Hayashi.
Hayashi-san. Hayashi-san. So you would have, of course, known a lot of Japanese brand names like Suzuki, the car brand, or Honda, also Toyota. Yes, Toyota is also from Japan. Mitsubishi, so many names. You will find, now that you know hiragana, katakana, the basic sounds of Japanese, you will see that these names are distinctly different. And you will no longer confuse a Japanese brand name with a Chinese or Korean brand name. The sounds are so fundamentally different. Yeah. Now let's go to the Indians. The first person is?
Ashok.
Ashok.
Ashoku. Ashoku-san. Again, it's a Japanese classroom, so we'll add san, Ashoka-san.
Raja-san.
Second person is Raja-san
Raja.
and
Devi. Devi-san.
Devi.
Devi.
Yes. So it could technically be Devi-san. Yes, Devi is also okay. But a Japanese person is more likely to use ba sound here. It's easier for them, right? We do that even in India. So Devi-san. Now coming to the previous page, we'll just learn the basic numbers once. Again, for a little bit of reading practice. We know some of these numbers already. Now counting in Japanese is quite straightforward. The basic numbers that you need to know are 1 to 10. After that, up till 99, it's permutations and combinations of the same sound. You don't have to learn new sounds, right? After 99, you need to know 100. Then from 100 to 999, it's again permutations and combinations of the same sounds. Similarly, you learn 1,000, then you can go up to 9999. 10,000, you can go from there. It's a very simple system. So let's take a look. First, let's read from 1 to 10, shall we? 1.
Ichi.
Hi. Ichi. Ichi. 2.
Ni.
Ni. 3.
San.
San. San. So this word san, there are many different san words in Japanese. One of them is the number 3. One of them is what you use to call the names of people, right? And another is, it's a word for mountains. So you know how in English we say Mount Fuji, right? Mount so-and-so. Any mount, we put mount in the beginning. Instead of the mount in the beginning, they put the san at the end. It also means mountain. So a Japanese person, to talk about Mount Fuji, they would say, Hai. Fuji-san. Hai. Fuji-san. You're not talking about Mount Fuji as a person here. You're not like, oh, it's showing respect as though it's, no, nothing like that. You're just saying Mount Fuji. That's the meaning, right? So many san are there. The kanji for each of these san will be different. 4 is?
Yon.
Hi. I'd like everyone to unmute. You can practice. It's?
Yon. He.
Yon. Now, below that, you have 2 more pronunciations. We will worry about these later. Right? For now, you can remember yon. We'll come back to yo and she later on. What about 5?
Go.
Go. Fantastic. 6?
Roku.
Roku. Hai. Roku. 7?
Nana.
Nana. Nana. There's another pronunciation. What is it?
Shitsu.
Shichi.
Shichi.
Hai. Shichi. Some of you may know about this famous movie, The Seven Samurai. Have you heard of it? The Japanese title is Shichinin no Samurai. Shichinin. Nin means person. So 7 people of, I will come to the no thing later. So that's just an example. So Nana and Shichi are both used fairly commonly. We'll learn more about numbers after some time. 8?
Hachi.
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 Hachi. 9?
Kyo.
Q.
Q.
And
Q.
10? Jo. What is the sound? Jo or Ju?
Joe.
Ju.
Ju.
This is you. Ya, you, yo. It's you, right? So Ju. It's an elongated sound. Q, 9. Ju, 10. Now from 11 to 19, all you have to do is 10 and then 1. 10 and then 2. So 11 is?
Jewish.
Ju. Yes. Jewish. 12?
Juni.
Juni.
Yuichi.
13? Jusan. Pretty straightforward, right? Jusan. 14?
Juyon.
Juyon.
Yuyon.
Yon? 15?
Jujo.
Jugo.
Jugo.
Yugo.
Jugo. 16?
Juroku.
Juroku. Yes.
Yuroku.
17?
17
17
17 18
18
18 right 18 and 19
Joki
Ju.
Joki
Q.
QQ.
both are
Q
Q sounds right
Q.
Q
Joki
Q
Q
and lastly 20 let's try reading it first Nan desu ka? What is it
Niju.
Ni
Niju
Niju
right Niju now in the case of 20 so for all of the others the tens digit number comes first right Ju ichi 10 1 Ju ni 10 2 Ju san Ju yon and so forth for 20 the tens digit number is changing so then you have to put what it's changing to in front so 2 0 it's niju 2 into 10 you can think of it like that niju now based on this pattern can you guess what 30 is
Sanju.
exactly
Sanju.
sanju
Sanju.
40
Yonju.
yonju
Yonju.
can you guess what 88 would be
Hachi. Hachi.
hachiju
Chiju
right hachiju hachi
Hachi.
Hachi
8 into 10 plus 8 right hachiju hachi hachiju hachi what is 99
Q.
Kyoju
hai
Kyoju Kyoju
Q right
Kyoju
Q yes that's it now you know how to count up to 99 in Japanese the system is very simple it's a matter of practice and how can you practice this is a technique many of you may have heard sometimes we get annoyed or we get angry my father used to tell me this when you get mad don't shout at people don't lose your temper count from 1 to 10 10 was not enough for me so I used to count from about 1 to 50 how much ever it took to calm down I used to start counting then after a point English started losing meaning so then I started counting in Japanese because then you have to focus right you have to think about what you're doing that actually helped me calm down so next time you just need to count anything whether you're counting notes money or you're counting the number of potatoes in your shelf or you're counting anything whatever it is the number of dosas you're eating you can use Japanese to try counting you'll be surprised how quickly you can learn it right when you see a number try to consciously okay can I say this in Japanese just try that up to 99 you can practice on your own anytime from now on we'll be coming back to numbers a bit more closely around lesson 5 when we learn to talk about the calendar it's one of my favorite lessons about the days in Japanese the dates the months the years and things like that it's very interesting and not very grammar kind of lesson when we come to that we'll revisit this but in the meantime I want everyone to get comfortable with the numbers yes it's a pretty work from 1 to 10 first once you know 1 to 10 most of it goes pretty straightforward yes daijoubu desu ka
Daiju
now before this is just a quick thing we don't need to on that page I would like to do it right below the numbers you have some words or phrases right they are put inside brackets actually I mentioned this during our typing class these really like elbow brackets that's not ku right it's not hiragana ku these are brackets so ignore the brackets please read what's inside the first one says
Kotoba.
hai kotoba we already know kotoba right we have seen it before where have we seen it yes words we use in class what was it in Japanese
Q.
hai kurasu de tsukau kotoba so same kotoba kotoba is words what about the word after kotoba
Q.
Yogen.
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 gen
Yoga. Yoga.
Hyogen means expression right expressions these are not individual words but rather like full sentences the way we learn like ohayo gozaimasu or arigatou gozaimasu it's not a single word actually but a whole expression. Thank you very much. Good morning. You're welcome. Things like that. After hyogen, what does it say?
Don't.
Achuten.
So.
This is
Don't.
double
Don't.
consonant.
Hatton.
Hatten.
Hatten.
Atsen.
Hatten.
Atten.
Hatten means step up or development. It's like something new in that particular lesson, the new learning. So we'll see that when we come. In each lesson, there are little subheadings of kotoba, which is vocabulary, hyogen, expressions, hatten, which is some new learning, and the last one is
Renshu.
renshu. Yes, renshu.
Renshu.
Shu is long sound, right? Renshu. Renshu means practice. So again, in every lesson, you will have some practice exercises. There are some exercises in your textbook, and there are exercises online. You'll have to do both, but I'll come to all that later. So you can keep your textbook aside for a little bit. What we're going to do now is we're going to dive into actually learning how to introduce ourselves. So we're going to start with sentences today, right? Actually learning how to make Japanese sentences. So this is the word kyokasho. I'll share the screen. Yes. So earlier I was saying that the word for textbook is? Hi. Kyo
Yeah.
shitsu
Renshu.
Kyokasho.
Yes, kyokasho. Just one
Yes,
second.
sir.
Yes. Hi. So kyo, as I was saying, kyo shitsu. Kyoshitsu is classroom. Kyokasho. Kyokasho is textbook. Yes, textbook. So we were just looking at that. I wanted to show you the word. Now we're going to start with self-introduction today. Let's try to read. Can you please read the word?
Jikoshokai.
Jiko shokai. It's pretty direct. Jiko is oneself. Shokai means introduction. Shokai. So jiko shokai, self-introduction. This shokai, you can also use it in other ways, like, oh, let me introduce this topic to you. Let me introduce my son to you, and things like that. Shokai, you can still use in other ways. Of course, you don't have to worry for now. Now we'll come to what are the basic elements of Japanese jiko shokai. As I have mentioned from the very beginning, saying a greeting, even if you're meeting someone for the very first time, before you do anything, the first thing you should do is aisatsu. Aisatsu is? Yes, greeting. This is culture, right? Before you do anything, you should do aisatsu or greeting that is appropriate to the time of day, right? When are you seeing this person? Is it morning, afternoon, evening? Depending on that, you give the right aisatsu. For example, right now we would say, hi, dozo, you can read it.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Hi. Remember, it's not konnichiwa, it's konnichiwa. Yes. And this wa, we have to pronounce it as wa, right? Not ha. That's because it's the particle, right? We're going to learn about this particle today in detail. Now, after you give the right greeting, the right aisatsu, the next thing you usually say to a person you meet for the very first time, only when you meet them the first time, you never say this again. Once you know the person, you cannot say this. Dozo, please read it.
はじめまして。
Jimashite.
Hajime mashite. This is not the same as hi. Hajime masu, which we learned before, means I'm going to start doing an action. I'm going to start class or something. But hajime mashite is something like I'm meeting you for the first time. This is our beginning. This is the first time. So you say this only in that situation. They're not the same. They have the same root, right? They have the same original meaning, but the context is a little different. This is ending with shite, right? Hajime mashite. Right. Please repeat. Hajime mashite. Yes. Hajime mashite. Pleased to meet you, right? That's what this basically means. Now, after you tell someone, pleased to meet you, what's the next thing you do? Tell your name, right? You have to tell them who you are. Ah, sumimasen. Yes. Watashi wa. You can fill in your name and try to say it with Japanese sounds, right? We practiced this for many of you last week when we were doing typing. How can you fit your name into Japanese sounds? So, watashi wa so-and-so, whatever your name is. Anuja
Yes.
desu. Right? Desu. It's like, I am Anuja. That's me. I'm introducing. Watashi means I. Watashi is I. Now, after you say your name, usually we typically add something else about ourselves, right? Who we are, where we work, where we study, some information. We're going to start very simple here for now because everybody's profession is going to be different. We'll start with something a little simple. Can you try to read it?
日本語
日本語の先生
先
で
生
す。
です。
Yes. Nihongo no sensei desu. What is sensei? Yes. What is Nihongo?
Japanese.
Japanese.
Learning.
It's not Japan, Nihongo, Japanese language, right?
Language.
We're going to learn about this no also. So the three things that we're going to look at the grammar today is wa, this desu, and this no. Okay? So Nihongo no sensei desu. What do you think it means? I'm a Japanese language teacher. Okay? One thing I want to call attention to right away is, in the second example, I didn't say, watashi wa Nihongo no sensei desu, right? I left out. I didn't say this watashi wa. This is because in Japanese custom, like spoken language, they don't say things that they feel are obvious or unnecessary. Now, I have started talking about myself. I've said, okay, watashi wa, I am so-and-so. In the next sentence, I don't have to keep repeating, I am, I am, I am, I am. You know I'm talking about me, right? I don't need to keep repeating it. So actually, in spoken Japanese language, even in written sometimes, it's okay to not keep repeating this as long as you're still talking about the same person. Right? As long as the next sentence is about the same watashi, I don't need to say, watashi wa Nihongo no sensei desu. But it's actually there in the sentence. It's just being omitted. It's being left out. Grammatically, it's hiding in the background like a silent sound. It's like a silent word. It's there, but nobody has to say it. So as long as you keep talking about yourself or whoever you've introduced, you don't need to keep saying watashi wa, or raja-san wa, raja-san wa. You don't have to keep saying it. It's one of the most beautiful and confusing things about Japanese language. Beautiful because they don't waste time. Yeah, they're not going to keep repeating things that are obvious. But confusing because sometimes you don't know who they're talking about. We'll see about this. We'll learn more about this in detail. So Japanese language teacher. If I wanted to say student, what would I say?
Yes.
Excellent. Gakusei. So, watashi wa Nihongo no gakusei
Yes.
desu. I am a Japanese language student. At the end of your self-introduction, this is also a very important element. It's a very long expression. So let's try to read it. First word,
どうぞ。
Dozo.
dozo. Yes, this is elongated sound. Dozo.
Yoroshiku.
Yoroshiku. This can be a little tough. No? Yoroshiku. Yes. Dozo yoroshiku.
お願いし
お願い
ます。
します。
Very good.
お願いします。
The last is
お願いします。
onegai shimasu. We know onegai shimasu. What is onegai shimasu? Yes. Dozo is? Here you go. Yes, very good. We say dozo when we hand something over to someone, right? When we're giving something to someone, we say dozo. It's like saying, here you go. Here you have it. And onegai shimasu is please. Please have something. That's kind of the impression this gives. Now, this yoroshiku is the trickiest expression here. Yoroshiku is kind of special. You might have heard me and the admin team will be saying it to each other all the time, right? Anytime you want to entrust something to someone, you will say this expression, yoroshiku. Onegai shimasu, you're making it more polite, basically. So, yoroshiku onegai shimasu is like, please take care of me. Please take care of this. So over here, it's like I'm handing myself over to you, our relationship. Please take care of it. So a translation would be, please take care of me. But one thing about yoroshiku is it's not limited only to jiko shokai. You can use it anytime in any circumstance where you're leaving something in somebody else's hands. Like you go and work in an office. Many times you have to ask your colleague, right, another team member, a different team person altogether to do some work, right? You start working together with your friends on a project in school. That's the kind of time when you say, yoroshiku onegai shimasu, right? Please take care. And the other person, the way to respond to this is to say the same thing. They will also reply with the same expression. Yes, that's the polite way. So let's repeat this expression one more time. The whole thing. Dozo.
Dozo.
Yoroshiku.
どうぞよろしくお願い
どうしよう、よろしく。
どうぞよろしくお願いします。
Fantastic. どうぞよろしくお願いします。どうぞよろしくお願いします。So let's just read these all from the top once. Maybe in place of name, you can just say some, what can, so and so, we can just say. For now, otherwise you're going to have a whole bunch of different names and it'll be hard to follow. Let's try it from the top. First, aisatsu.
こんにちは。
はじめましてね。
はじめまして。
そう
私はウィンソです。
はい、私は、まあ、so and so です。
そうです。
日本語の先生です。
You can also say 日
日
本語
本語の学生です。
学生です。And
どうぞよろしくお願いします。
お願い
です。
します。
お願いします。
どうぞよろしくお願いします。Excellent. So you can, this is kind of like a cheat sheet. You can always write it down in the beginning when you can't remember it. Yes, this is the most basic form of self-introduction. As you level up in Japanese, of course, you can add more things. Like, oh, I'm from so-and-so. I work in so-and-so company. My position is this. And there are more formal interview-style ways of introducing yourself. You learn that when you learn CJAT 2 or CJAT 3 level. But this is the absolute basic. You can use it anywhere. It's polite. It's formal. It's got the main ingredients. Now in this, there were 3 grammatical things that I said we will be discussing in detail. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. The first of these that we're going to see is yes, no. I mentioned last week and the week before that there's a group of grammatical terms in Japanese called particles. Yes, particles. It's not unique only to Japanese language. Many languages have particles, but it's not there in English. So it's a little hard to correlate. But particles basically have the function of connecting things in a sentence, right? They connect words and show the relationship between words in a sentence. Depending on which particle you use, the relationship is slightly different, right? The first of those particles we're going to see is no, which shows it shows many relationships, but we're going to start with just one or two. And that is a particular kind of relationship between two nouns. Can anyone tell me what a noun is? I'm sorry to take you back to school, but yes. Yes. Names of people, places, things, right? Animals. The names of things are basically nouns, right? Nouns do not usually show actions. Nouns usually don't describe things. That's the job of adjectives, right? Adjectives like colors, a red car, a tall man, and so on. Those are adjectives. But the man, the car, those are the names of objects, right? Those are nouns. No connects two nouns and shows a relationship like this. Let me clear this. Yes? Noun one, no, noun two, right? In this structure, you're trying to say that noun two, the second one, right? This is the main one. This is the main object you're talking about. That one is of this noun's type, group, or possession. What is possession? Having something, right? Ownership, owning something, right? Ennoda savi, something. It's mine. It belongs to me. To show that possession, you use no. You can also show that something belongs to a certain type or group. Now, this is all very vague, so let's see some examples. We saw this, right? Dozo. You can read it.
Hongo no sensei.
Nihongo
Nihongo no sensei.
sensei.
What is the main thing here? Sensei.
Senpai.
Noun two is the thing that you're really talking about. Noun one, the first thing, gives some information about what type, category, or group noun two belongs to. So I'm some sensei. Watashi wa sensei desu. I'm a teacher. What kind of teacher am I? Nihongo no sensei. I'm a teacher of Japanese language. In this sense, you can think of no as being something like of in English, but the order is reversed, right? Teacher of Japanese. You're going in this direction. So if you try to overthink it in English, it'll get confusing. Instead, just learn the pattern. Eventually, your brain will be like, oh, this is comfortable. Nihongo no sensei. Let's see another category. Let's see another type. Dozo.
Hayakawa no gakusei.
Ayakawa no
Yes,
usi.
very good. Hayakawa no gakusei. What do you think it means?
Student.
Very. This is the main thing, right? Student. What type?
Hayakawa students.
Exactly. This is a type of possession. Hayakawa's student or student of Hayakawa. You can think of it either way. So if you're working for a company or if you work in if you're going to a particular school, you can give that school name or the company name. I am an employee of so-and-so company. Toyota no so-and-so. We don't know those words yet. We will know eventually, but just giving as an example. So this is a type of possession. Let's see another case. Dozo.
Watashi no gakusei.
Watashi no
Japan.
kaban. What's kaban?
Bag.
So what does it mean? Very good.
My bag.
My bag. Bag of me or bag of mine, right? In English, you have all of these different words. You have I, me, my. That one word keeps changing form depending on how you're using. In Japanese, it's not so complicated. It's watashi everywhere. Things like particles take care of that work, right? They do that other work for us. So, watashi no kaban. Watashi no kaban. And let's take a look at one more example. Yes? It's katakana. Na?
Raja-san no
Raja-san no
inu.
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 What does it mean?
Dog.
Raja's
Dog.
What dog?
Raja's dog.
Raja's dog.
One's dog.
Raja's dog, right? Dog of Rajas. It shows possession in this case, right? Belonging. You can use either this type or group way, or you can use possession. The usage of no is the same in both ways. It's not changing, right? It's the same, but the meaning is slightly different. So you can use it in two ways. Hi, sensei, right? So sensei, what type of sensei? Now, instead of Japanese language, let's change it up a bit and say we're going to talk about nationality. For example, I'm an Indian, but there are also Japanese teachers here, right? Native Japanese teachers. A native Japanese person. Dozo.
Nihonjin no sensei.
Nihonjin. This is a suffix. What's a suffix or a prefix? Yes. Prefix is something you put in the front of a word. Suffix is something you put at the end of a word, right? And it is attached to a word. A prefix or a suffix is not a word on its own. You never say it independently. You can only use it attached with other things. That's why I say jin is a suffix. You never say jin to mean person alone. It always comes together with other stuff. But jin basically means person. Okay? So Nihon jin, a Japanese person, right? A person of Japan or this country, right? This is the way we can talk about nationality. Basically, the structure in Japanese is the country name plus jin. So what do you suppose is an Indian person?
Indojin no sensei.
Indojin.
Indojin. Indojin. Watashi wa Indojin no sensei desu.
Sensei.
Sensei.
You can also say about yourself, I'm an Indian student. Can you say? Indojin no?
Watashi wa Indojin no gakusei.
Gakusei.
Excellent. Gakusei desu. Watashi wa Indojin no gakusei desu. Shimizu sensei wa
Nihonjin no sensei desu.
sensei desu. A Japanese, a native Japanese teacher. Still, sensei is the important thing here. It's the thing you're trying to say. This is the category to which sensei belongs. The group to which sensei belongs, right? So what you're putting at the end, that's the important information. This is some extra information about it. Yes? If you want to say, I'm a student or teacher of Japanese language,
Nihongo no sensei.
Nihongo no sensei.
very good. Nihongo no sensei. Nihongo no students? Gakusei. So go over here is also a suffix for language. Unlike the country one is very straightforward. Name of country plus jin. Anyway, that's for everybody. But language is sometimes not that straightforward because sometimes the whole country does not speak one language. We know best. Yes, in India, we don't have an Indo-Go. There's no such thing as Indo-Go. We have so many languages here. So for each language, you can give the name of the language and add go at the end, just so that people who don't know such a language exists, they will understand that you're talking about a language. So for example, Tamil, Tamiru-Go. Tamiru-Go. They don't have ra, so you change it to ru. Tamiru-Go. Hindi, Hindi-Go. Yes, Hindi-Go. You can do the same for any other. Telugu-Go, Malayalam-Go, Kannada-Go. Yes. So in that case, it's not always country plus go. It depends on the language. Depends on whether the whole country speaks it or not. There is no America go, right? Because America speaks English, which came from England. There's no Australia go, Australia language, because they also speak English. So it really depends. We'll learn about that as we proceed. Yes. Now, students, gakusei, ne?
Gakusei.
Indian nationality?
Hindu Jin no Gakusei.
Fantastic. Indojin no gakusei.
Gakusei.
Japanese language student?
Nihongo no
Nihongo no
Gakusei.
gakusei.
Japanese language, right? Nihon
Go.
go
No
gakusei.
gakusei.
Very good. Nihongo no gakusei. Student of Hayakawa?
Hayakawa no gakusei.
Very good. Hayakawa no gakusei. Excellent. Hayakawa no gakusei. Now, yes? So, good question. Mostly it's clear from a particular situation. When you introduce yourself, you're obviously talking only about you. But if you're talking about a whole bunch of watashi and one more person, and then you add this, then they'll understand it's about you and all the others. So context usually helps understand whether you're talking about singular or plural in Japanese. There are ways to talk specifically in plural. So we will see how to do that. But it's not all that important. You will find in communication, it doesn't matter all that much in many cases. It's a very good question, though. On that note, I want to mention one more useful thing about no. So in English, you have these grammatical limitations, like the word and. How many times can you use it in a sentence? Once. Right? You're only allowed to do, we do it in spoken language, we say and as many times as we like. Nobody notices. But in written language, formal English, you're only supposed to use it once in a sentence, right? Unless, I mean, there are exceptions, but I'm not going to go into that. Now, coming to this use of no, actually, you can use no multiple times in a given sentence. There's no limit as such. Yes. So if I want to say, I am a Japanese language student of Hayakawa. Right? I am a student of Japanese language of Hayakawa. I can stack it. You have to start with the last thing first. So, Hayakawa no
Nihongo
Nihongo no
Gakusei.
Nihongo no gakusei. Yes.
Yes. Watashi wa Hayakawa no Nihongo no gakusei.
Gakusei. Yes.
I am a Japanese language student of Hayakawa. So you can actually go on stacking. And if you want, I can be more clear like Watashi wa Hayakawa no Indojin no Nihongo no sensei desu. I am a Indian nationality Japanese language teacher of Hayakawa. Okay? So you can do that. There's no limit, but the order that we follow should be start from the broadest thing and go to the more specific thing. That's the general pattern. If it's not very clear, it's okay if you mix it up a little bit. Right? In the early stages, if you make mistakes, people will still understand. It's okay. Now let's practice talking about possession or ownership. What is this object?
Kagi.
It's a key, right? The word in Japanese is
Kagi.
kagi. Kagi.
Kagi.
Now you want to talk about, it's my key.
Watashi no
Watashi kagi.
Yes. Watashi no kagi. My key. Yes. If it's teacher's key,
Sensei no Kagi.
Sensei no kagi.
excellent. Sensei no kagi. If you want to say, it's the car's keys. The word for car is?
Kuruma.
Yes. Kuruma. Yes.
Kuruma no Kagi.
Sounds like food.
Kuruma no kagi.
Kuruma no.
Kuruma no kaki.
So in all, these two cases are possession. I own the key. Sensei owns the key. But the last case is, it's giving information, right? It's telling the group or category to which kagi belongs. What type of key? Car keys.
Okay.
If you want to say my car's keys,
Watashi
Watashi
no
no kuruma no kagi.
kuruma no kagi.
excellent. Watashi no kuruma no
Kagi.
ね。私の車の鍵です。My car's keys. ラジャさんの車の鍵です。And so on. Great. So we're going to put it all together. I want you to tie these words up using no particle. Shall we? どうぞ。
日本語の
日本語の学生。
学生。
日本語の学生。
日本語の
日本語の先生。
先生。
日本語の先生。
先生。インド人の
インド人の
インド
学生
人の
学生。
学生。
学生。Right? インド人の学生。はい。
学生。
日本人の
先生。
に日本人の
先生。
先生。
日本人の先生。
インド人の
インド人の先生。
インド人の先生。
日本人
日本人の学生。
日本人の学生。So, two things to be careful of, whether you're reading Jin or Go. Right? In the flow of reading, sometimes we read Nihongo instead of Nihonjin and so on. So please be careful about that. Yes. どうぞ。
早川の学生。
Excellent. 早川の学生。
タミル語の学生。タミル語の学生。
はい。タミル語の学生。
ヒンド
ヒン
ヒンディ
Very
ヒンディ語の先生。
先生。Excellent.
ヒンディー語の先生。
の先生。Again, I want to highlight Tamil and Hindi are in katakana, but Go is in hiragana. You're bringing together two different meanings. The first part is a foreign concept. The second part is a Japanese concept. So it will be written in hiragana. Great. Yes. Yes, please go ahead. Any questions about this no particle? Is it clear so far? 大丈夫ですか？
大丈夫です。
はい。大丈夫ですね。Great. Now we're coming to the other couple of things that are pending, right? We have this wa particle, and then we have this desu.
Yes.
Let's take a look. どうぞ。Please read this.
私は
私は先生です。
私は、
私は
先生です。
先生です。Now, in the Jiko Shokai slide, it was watashi wa name desu. Right? Whatever your name is, you have to fill it up there. Watashi wa anuja desu. But over here, I'm putting sensei instead of anuja, from which you can understand basically that this sentence is equivalent to saying, I am so-and-so. In this case, it's teacher. So I am anuja. I am a teacher. You can fill in this blank with whatever is equivalent to watashi. Right? What I want you to think of this sentence as is less like language and more like mathematics. A wa B desu is basically like A is equal to B. But more importantly, what is this wa doing here? Wa is not is. In English, we say I am, he is, she is, they are, and so on. The verb be changes forms, and that's what you're using to indicate that somebody is something else. Whereas this wa particle, it doesn't actually have any meaning. You cannot translate it because it doesn't have meaning. What it's called in Japanese is it's a topic marker. Some people call it a topic particle. Some people say topic marker. the point is that what wa is doing is it's telling us that the thing before wa, whatever came before wa, is the topic of the sentence. It's the topic of this sentence. What a topic is a little complicated because in English it's not so clear. So I'm not going to go into that. What I want you to think of it as is something like, as for me, right? As for so-and-so, I'm making a sentence about so-and-so. Like, okay, what kind of movies do you like? You're sitting with your friends and you're having a conversation. Okay, let's talk about what movies we like. What kind of movies do you like? Everybody's taking turns. So when it's your turn, you say, oh, as for me, I like scary movies. Or as for me, I like Vijay Padam. Whatever it is. But as for me, because you're directing attention to yourself, you're saying this is I'm shifting the topic to me, right? That is what this wa is doing. It's saying, watashi is now the topic. I'm moving the topic of this conversation to watashi. That's the only meaning wa has. You cannot translate it. This desu, if anything, is the equivalent of is, am, are, were, all of the be verbs in English. Desu is kind of like the equivalent of that. It comes at the end of the sentence, so it's a bit confusing. But Japanese in general has verb ending sentences. Verbs are always at the end. It's similar to Indian languages, right? In Tamil also, we put verbs at the end of the sentence. It's hard to find an equivalent of desu. Maybe in Hindi, you can relate a little bit. Mera naam so-and-so hai, right? We say something like that. But that's what's happening there. Desu. You need desu to finish the sentence. It's completing the sentence. So these are the two parts. One is the wa particle, which is telling you the topic of the sentence. When you're using wa as a particle, you have to pronounce it as wa and not ha. It is ha character, but you have to pronounce it as wa. Right? So watashi wa. As for me, sensei. I'm sensei. Watashi wa Anuja desu. As for me, the name is Anuja. I can say Gakusei, Hayakawa no sensei, Hayakawa no Indojin no sensei. I can put anything in place of this and finish that sentence, but it's all pertaining to this topic, watashi. You're making statements about the topic. That's the point of this sentence. Is it okay for now? Until this? Daijoubu desu ka?
Right.
Now coming to that desu, it has two layers, right? One, desu is basically a predicate. Again, you don't need to really remember this word, but a predicate in a sentence is something that completes the sentence. Without a predicate, sentences are incomplete. This is true in most languages, including English. That's why they always say English has to have a verb. Every sentence has to have a verb. Verb is the absolute minimum. Even when you have one-word sentences, eat, that one word will be a verb because they need verbs for a sentence to have meaning. Predicates are the broader category of sentence completion. So in Japanese, desu is a predicate. It completes the sentence. So for now, use it everywhere. For now. We'll learn more about this later, but early stages, to make a complete sentence, you need to use desu. The second layer of desu is politeness. So if you are listening to Japanese, if you watch anime or movies or dramas and things, you might hear sentences without desu. They end slightly differently or they omit desu. In that case, it would not be polite. In plain language, you may not hear desu, but in polite language, desu is required. That's why we're starting with this first, right? It shows that you're being polite to the listener, the person to whom you're speaking. One last thing, we didn't see it yet. We're going to see the opposite of desu. So if desu is affirmative, I am a teacher, I am Anuja, I am Hayakawa's student. The opposite of desu, I am not. Can you read this?
Devarimasen.
Yes. Deva
Arimasen.
arimasen. Deva arimasen. So one sentence type is eva b desu, where you're saying, as for A, it's equal to B. The other sentence type is the opposite type, eva B eva B deva arimasen, where you're trying to say, as for A, it is not B. Watashi wa gakusei de wa arimasen. I am not a student. Watashi wa nihonjin de wa arimasen. Yes, I'm not a Japanese person, right? My nationality is Indian. So you can make negative statements about A or the topic by using deva arimasen. Now these are our two keys, right? Sentence keys. Until now we weren't speaking sentences. Now we're going to start speaking sentences. You have these two for structures. A wa B desu, A wa B de wa arimasen. Shall we try to practice making sentences with this? Daijoubu desu ka?
大丈夫です。
Hi. Now just basic. We'll read first and then we'll make.
Watashi wa sensei
私
desu.
は先生です。
Watashi wa sensei desu. Ne. What type of teacher?
Nihonjin no sensei desu.
Watashi wa, you
私
can,
は日本人です。
Nihonjin desu. You can also combine Nihonjin, sorry, no
Desu.
sensei, right? Nihonjin no sensei desu. You can combine both of them to make it that. Watashi wa sensei desu. Watashi wa nihonjin desu. Watashi wa nihonjin no sensei desu.
Desu.
Indian teacher?
Indojin no sensei
イン
desu.
ド人の先生。
Watashi wa Indojin no
Indojin no
先
sensei
生。
desu.
desu.
Very good. I'm a Japanese language teacher.
Nihongo no sensei.
Hongo.
Watashi wa Nihongo no sensei desu.
Watashi wa Nihongo no sensei desu.
Sensei desu.
Excellent. So we have ne. Watashi wa Nihongo no sensei desu. If I want to say, I am not an English language teacher, the word for English is
Aigo.
English language. Can you read it?
Igu.
Eigo.
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 It's elongated, right? This E is elongating the A sound. Eigo. How can we say, I am not an English language teacher?
Watashi wa Eigo no sensei de arimasen.
Eigo no sensei.
Deva arimasu.
Very good. Watashi wa Eigo no sensei
Deva.
de wa arimasen. Fantastic. Ne? Hai. Make a sentence, an affirmative sentence with this. Positive sentence.
Watashi wa gakusei.
Watashi wa gakusei desu.
Watashi wa
Gakusei.
gakusei.
Gakusei desu.
I'm a student. A negative sentence.
Watashi
Watashi
wa
wa Nihonjin
Nihonjin no deva.
no gakusei de wa arimasen.
Watashi wa Nihonjin
Nihonjin deva arimasu.
de wa. Hai. Watashi wa Nihonjin de wa arimasen. So either you will use desu or you will use de wa arimasen. We don't combine them, right? Because they have opposite meanings. Either desu, yes, I am, or de wa arimasen, I am not. It need not be watashi also. You can be talking about anyone, whoever is the topic. And whatever goes in A wa B desu, B can be one word, like gakusei, sensei, nihonjin, indojin, anything. Or B can be a string that's combined using no. Nihongo no gakusei, nihonjin no sensei. It can be as small as one noun, or it can be a bunch of no connected nouns, right? Noun 1, no. Noun 2, no. Noun 3. We can do that. We'll keep it simple for now. Dozo. Affirmative sentence.
Devi.
Debi-san
Devi-san wa gakusei desu.
gakusei desu. Very good. Debi-san wa gakusei desu. Negative sentence.
Raja-san wa
Raja-san wa sensei.
sensei de wa arimasen.
Sensei de wa arimasen.
Fantastic. Raja-san wa sensei de wa arimasen. Now, in the next case, you don't just have watashi. There's something attached to it. What is that?
Plural.
Tachi.
Everyone.
Yeah, very good. Actually, tachi, now we don't have singular plural in English, sorry, in Japanese, right? But tachi is a kind of pseudo plural form. You can attach it to pronouns and the names of people, basically people. Usually you'll say it for people, maybe for animals like pets or something, mostly for living things. Only for living things we will use it, animate things. People plus tachi. It can be a person's name, or it can be like watashi, like Tanaka-san tachi, or watashi tachi, anata tachi, you all. And it's like saying all. This person plus their group. That's the meaning of tachi. So when I want to say not just I, but us, we, right? Me and my group of people. That is watashi tachi. Watashi tachi. So I and my group, tachi. That is a way of saying plural without actually having plural in Japanese. So watashi tachi, we are Japanese language students. How can we say it?
Watashi wa
Watashi tachi
no gakusei desu.
Washachi
Nihongo no
gakusei desu.
watashi tachi wa Nihongo no gakusei desu. Now, if you want to say Miss Tanaka and co are Japanese language teachers. How can we say it?
Tanaka-san tachi wa
Wa
Tanaka-san tachi wa Nihongo
Nihongo no
sensei desu.
sensei desu.
excellent. Tanaka-san tachi wa Nihongo no sensei desu. Same. Tanaka and co are not English teachers.
Tanaka-san tachi
Tanaka-san tachi
Tachi
wa
eigo
Eigo no
sensei
sensei
de
de wa arimasen.
Eigo no sensei
de wa
de wa arimasen. Fantastic. Eigo no sensei de wa arimasen. Speaking of, this is just about this person, one person. Who is she? Tanaka sensei wa
Tanaka sensei
sensei wa
Tanaka
eigo
sensei
sensei de wa
de
arimasu.
wa arimasu.
de wa arimasu.
Tanaka sensei wa Eigo no sensei de wa arimasen. She's not an English language teacher. We are Indian nationality students. How can we say it? We.
Watashi tachi wa
Watashi wa
Watashi tachi
Indojin
wa
gakusei
watashi
desu.
tachi wa
Indojin no
No gakusei desu.
gakusei
watashi tachi wa
gakusei
Desu.
this. Affirmative sentence. We are Indian nationality students. Very good. Daijoubu desu ka?
daijoubu.
Daijoubu desu.
Now's the time for me to tell you, otsukaresama deshita. Yes, it's very tiring, I know. Now, one last key we're learning. Now, we've learned A is equal to B and A is not equal to B. Sounds like a maths class suddenly. So A is equal to B. A wa B desu, A wa B de wa arimasen. 2 sentences. Very easily, we can take both of these sentences and turn them into question form. You already learned that. What do you add to make a sentence a question?
Ka.
Ka, right? Ka at the end of a sentence makes it a question. It's called the question particle. Yes, ka at the end of a sentence basically makes it a question. So, Tanaka sensei, is Tanaka a Japanese language teacher? Is she? Hai. Tanaka-san wa Nihongo no sensei desu ka? Is she a Japanese language? It's actually the same exact sentence. Without ka, it would be a statement, right? Miss Tanaka is a Japanese language teacher. Is Miss Tanaka a Japanese language teacher? Unlike English, it's very straightforward, right? In English, you have to change the whole order of the sentence. Here, it's very straightforward. Take the sentence as it is, add a ka at the end, it becomes a question, right? And the answer to that, is she? Hai. Nihongo. Everybody online also, you can read it once. Hai. Nihongo no
Nihongo no
Hai Nihongo no sensei desu.
sensei desu.
Excellent. In this case, again, you can see we are not repeating. Tanaka-san wa Nihongo no sensei desu. We're not repeating that, right? Because the topic hasn't changed. In the question, Miss Tanaka is the topic. In the answer also, she is only the topic. We're not changing. So we don't need to keep repeating that Tanaka sensei is so-and-so. Tanaka sensei is not so-and-so. Once a topic is fixed, unless it's changing to another topic, we don't have to keep repeating. Okay? Hai, Nihongo no sensei desu. She is a Japanese language teacher. Now, if you want to change up the question, is Miss Tanaka an English language teacher? How can we ask?
Tanaka-san wa Eigo no
Tanaka-san wa
Eigo no
Eigo no sensei desu ka?
desu ka?
Tanaka-san wa Eigo no sensei desu ka? Is she? Is she? Iie.
Tanaka-san wa Nihongo no sensei desu.
So we have one of two answers. One,
Affirmative.
Iie. She's not an English language teacher. Hai. Eigo no sensei de wa
Arimasu.
arimasen. That's one, right? No, she's not English language teacher. You can add, she's a Japanese language teacher. How do we say it? Hi. Nihongo no sensei desu. We use tildes in Japanese to indicate like so and so. You can fill in the blanks, right? So, iie, eigo no sensei de wa arimasen. Nihongo no sensei desu. She's not a Japanese language teacher. She's not an English language teacher. She's a Japanese language teacher. Iie, not this, but this. Here we're not repeating. Again, neither of these sentences have Tanaka-san wa. It's not starting with that because it's not needed. We're still talking about the same person. Hai, dozo. Oh, that is the same last name. In that case, you can say Tanaka-san no father, Otou-san wa Nihongo no sensei desu ka, and so on. Just to be very clear, if there are multiple Tanaka-sans and they're related, you can point out using the relation. The person you address would be the first Tanaka-san, and then the other person who you're talking about can be the relation that you're discussing. Tanaka-san no oka-san, Tanaka-san no otou-san, and so on. Now, taking the same structure, asking somebody's name. Hai, dozo, please read it. Sumimasen.
Oleg, Ona, Onamae, Onamae,
Onamae wa
nan desu ka?
nan desu ka? Nan means what? Actually, it has a complete form. Some of you may have heard it. Nani. Nani is the full form. It means what? But when you combine it with desu, or anytime de follows, it will always be condensed to nan. So, excuse me, your name, what is it? As for your name, as for onamae, right? We're using wa particle. The structure is exactly the same. E wa, b desu ka? It's the same structure. A is name, B is question mark. Please fill in this blank. I don't know what it is. A wa nan desu ka? What is A? Then the person will respond. A wa, my name is so and so this. Or just I am watashi wa so and so this. So here, just one thing. Onamae. This O we're adding for respect. You might have noticed, you're asking somebody else's name. In English, we'll say, may I have your name? But here we're not using you, your, anata. We're not saying it. Why do you think that is? It's pointing, right? It's rude. Anata in general, we don't use it because it can sound a bit rude. So instead of saying anata no namae, we say o namae. Adding o shows that respect. It's obvious when you add o, it's obvious you're asking about their name. Namae means name. This is again the wa particle, so you pronounce it as wa. Onamae wa nan desu ka? What's your name? And you can respond saying, watashi wa so and so this, or my name is so and so. How can you say it?
Watashi no namae wa
Watashi no namae wa so and so desu.
desu.
Excellent. Watashi no namae wa so and so this. Whatever your name is. So here, what is no doing? What's the connection between watashi and namae? My name. Possession, right? It's showing
Possession.
ownership. My name, right? Name of mine. Watashi no namae. When you say my name, we don't say onamae. Onamae is only for other people because it's respectful. When you talk about yourself, you have to be humble. When you talk about yourself, your own name, you never use san. You never use o. These are things that you do only out of respect to other people. So my name, watashi wa anuja-san desu. We never say it. It's very weird. Yes, watashi wa anuja desu. But when you talk about another person, it's always Raja-san, Devi-san, Ashok-san, Tanaka-san, Suzuki-san, and so on. Daijoubu desu ka? Hai. Great. So now we'll put it all together. One last practice session, shall we? We're going to make questions and also statements. We're asking about who? Who is this person? Yes, katakana ne. Ashoku, you want to ask, is he an Indian nationality teacher? Hi. Indojin no
Sensei desu ka?
Ashoku-san wa Indojin no sensei desu ka? Yes. I think this is something many of you got very instinctively. When you make something a question, the intonation at the end of the sentence goes up, right? We don't say desu ka. We say desu ka. It goes up, right? It's very instinctive. I'm pointing this out now because here we have ka. It's a little obvious. But there are ways to ask questions in Japanese without using ka. We'll learn about it later. But when that comes, well, as long as you have this practiced, it'll be easier for you. Even in English, this is true. Sometimes we ask questions without making them into questions. Like a famous got the keys versus got the keys. And I have the keys, they're in my hands, versus do you have them? Because I don't. It can be a very dangerous situation if you misunderstand something like that. Hi. This is a statement, right? Not a question. I am a Japanese language student. Watashi wa Nihongo no gakusei desu. Excellent. Miss Tanaka is not an English language teacher.
さんは英語の
英語の
先生ではあります。
Fantastic. De wa arimasen. Excellent. So this wa is also particle, right? So you have to pronounce it as wa. Ne? Tanaka sensei wa eigo no sensei de wa arimasen. Is Hayashi a student of Tamil language? I know, it's a question. You have to ask.
林さんはタミル語の
Tamil go no?
学生ですか？
Excellent. Hayashi-san wa Tamil go no gakusei desu ka? If you want to respond with yes. Hai?
林さんは
Tamil go no gakusei
学
desu.
生です。
はい、タミル語の学生です。No? タミル語の学生ではありませんね。Fantastic. Is Miss Baby a teacher of Hindi language? Baby さんはヒンディー語の
先生ですか？
先生ですかね。まあ、you could also make it a statement. はい、ベビーさんはヒンディー語の先生です。ね、she is. ラジャさん is a student of Japanese language.
ラジャさんは
日本語の
日本語
学
の
生。
学生です。
学生
Negative form
学生ではありません。
ではありません。
あります。
As you can see, whether it's a question, a statement, or a negative statement, all you have to change is that last bit, right? This desu. Only this will be changing. Everything else stays put, stays the same. Either yes, no, or is it? Is he not? And so on. はい。お疲れ様でした。大丈夫ですか？
大丈夫。
So coming back to Jiko Shokai, now you have all of the pieces put together, right? You have A wa B desu, something no something, right? Noun 1 no, noun 2. And you also learned de wa arimasen and desu ka. They don't appear in Jiko Shokai, but when you do Jiko Shokai, somebody might ask you a question, right? And you say, Nihongo no gakusei desu. インド人の so and so です。They might ask you a question. 早川の学生ですか？ Are you a student of 早川？ And so on. はい。早川の学生です。はい。At the end of your self-introduction, the other person who's responding to you will say, よろしくお願いします。じゃあ、I want to practice a little bit of Jiko Shokai, but before that, what I want to do very quickly is tell you about the textbook material and a little bit about your homework. And before we close, I want a few people to practice Jiko Shokai. Actually, I want all of you to do it. We'll see that in just a second. Okay. I'm going to stop the screen share. Come back to this in a second. So in the very first lesson, if you flip over to page 8, you will have the lesson contents. We're going to go through that together now in just a few minutes. Flip over to page 10. Again, we're going to go through that in a minute. Then on page 11, you have Renshu, right? You have a bunch of exercises with fill in the blanks or sentence types. This is homework. We'll meet only every weekend. So mostly I leave the homework for the week. You don't have to finish it by tomorrow. What I usually recommend is do Renshu immediately, not today like right now, but when you go home, when the class is still fresh in your mind, you can do Renshu. After Renshu, there's something called exercise. Right? It may not be there in some newer editions of the textbook. It's there online in the Hayakawa website. These exercises, I don't want you to do it immediately. You should wait 3 or 4 days towards the end of the week, maybe around Wednesday or Thursday. That's a good time to do the practice exercises. It tests whether you have retained what you have learned only if you take some time. If you do it right away, it'll be easy. If you do it after 4 days, you have to work your brain and try to remember what you learned. So the general practice is like this. In the weekend, once we finish a lesson, you can do Renshu right away, practices for later in the week. You must definitely finish lesson exercises before we meet the next weekend, right? If we complete a lesson, like today we will be completing lesson 1. So by next weekend, you should have definitely caught up and finished lesson 1, Shukudai, homework. Okay? Shukudai is homework. The reason I say this is a pretty fast track course. Yes, it's only 3 months long. If you fall behind, you will not be able to catch up. Right? It happens. Sometimes we have priorities. We have to take care of people at home. We have jobs. We have school. It can be difficult. But if you just do this, keep up, do the homework, do the revision you do in class, you revise, you will be able to stay on track. Yes, so please do stay on track. Otherwise, it can get very tough. This is easy. Right now, it feels easy. 10 lessons in, it's going to get very challenging. So if you build the practice from today, you'll be able to follow it through. And C1 is nothing. When you go to C2, you need to do even more. Right? This is just the beginning. So make the practice now, half an hour every day, 1 hour every day. Then you will be able to keep up with the rest of your Japanese studies. So what I'd like to quickly do now is, we'll go through the textbook materials together. We'll see what else is there. We'll read it together in class. And then we'll practice Jiko Shokai. I'll just scroll over. I'll share the screen. Those of you who are online, just wait a minute and I'll share the screen. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So in your textbook, you have this under hatten. You have some expressions, right? I'd like everyone to read them together. Right off the textbook, right? First, what's the heading?
Biceps.
Yes. Aisatsu. What is aisatsu?
Greeting.
Very good.
Greetings.
Biceps.
We know most of them, so let's just practice reading them. Yes? Those are, please go ahead. The first greeting is?
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Very good. Yes. We know this very well. Konnichiwa. Good evening.
Konbanwa.
Konbanwa.
Good night.
Oyasumi
Oyasumi
nasai.
nasai.
Oyasumi nasai. What about goodbye?
Sayonara.
Sayonara.
Yes. Sayonara.
Sayonara.
So you may not have known this before, but the yo in sayonara is elongated. It's sayonara. Sayonara. And there is something about sayonara that people don't know a lot of times. It's not something you use every day. Right? Whenever you say bye to a friend, if you're going to see them again the next day, you never say sayonara. Sayonara is a very heavy term. It's very emotionally heavy and loaded. You say it to someone who you think you're not going to see for a time. So please don't use it for ordinary goodbyes, not to your colleagues and your friends. Maybe your friend is visiting from, a different city or abroad. They're going away and you're not going to see them for a while. Then you can say, sayonara. The original meaning of this expression used to be, then goodbye. It's like, okay, if it must be like this, then goodbye, something like that. So it's a bit heavy. Hi, next is?
Arigato.
Arigato.
Or arigatou gozaimasu.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Do itashimashita.
Do itashimashite.
Scroll down a bit. Do
Itashimashite.
itashimashite. Ne? Do itashimashite. I'm sorry. There are two expressions.
Gomennasai.
Gomennasai.
Sumimasen.
Gomennasai. Sumimasen.
Sumimasen.
Sumimasen is the one we've learned so far. It's traditionally, it's the more formal of the two options. You can use sumimasen in just about any circumstance. But gomennasai is a bit more limited. You do it when you're actually apologizing, not just when you ask, excuse me. So it's a little more limited. And it doesn't have the same formal ring as sumimasen. So if you're in a meeting or something, don't say gomennasai. Right? If you're in a very public, important gathering, you won't say gomennasai. You'd have to say sumimasen. Gomennasai is like an apology between friends. Like you lightly bump into someone. That's okay. Hai.
Itadakimasu.
Itadakimasu.
Many people know this. What is itadakimasu? Close. That's the next one. We can try reading this.
Gochiso-sama.
Gochiso-sama.
Yes.
Deshita.
Gochiso-sama deshita.
Gochiso.
Itadakimasu and gochiso-sama deshita. Itadakimasu. We say it
Before eating.
It basically means I'll take it or I'll have it. Itadakimasu actually means to receive. That's the original meaning of this word. So it's like, I humbly receive this food. I will humbly have this food. And gochiso sama deshita, you say after you finish eating, it means it was a feast, it was a meal, like it was a treat. Thank you so much. So irrespective of whether somebody is in front of you, even if you're eating alone, a Japanese person would say both of these. So this isn't just politeness to the person who's serving you. It's politeness to the food, right? It's like saying grace before you eat. So you're just accepting that you are lucky to receive this food. And it was a filling thing. They even sometimes say this for drinks like a coffee or a tea. At the end, they can say gochiso sama deshita. It's just part of Japanese culture. If you watch any media in Japanese, I'm sure you would have seen this. Now coming up to hyogen. Hi. The first one is?
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Ohio.
Gozaimasu.
Ohayo gozaimasu. After that?
Hajimemashite.
Hajimemashite.
This next expression?
Dozo yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Yoroshiku.
Dozo yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Onegaishimasu.
Excellent. Now these are the 3 sentence types that we learned in this lesson. A wa B desu, A wa B de wa arimasen, and A wa B desu ka? Actually, this can also be converted into question form. A wa B de wa arimasen ka? Is A not B? You can do that too. So technically there are 4 sentence types. And towards the end you have onamae wa. That's what we learned is a polite way of asking somebody's name. And lastly, the no particle, to show the relationship between noun 1 and noun 2. Daijoubu desu ka? In the previous page, kotoba, we have some vocabulary. Most of these are names we've already learned. I just want to point out some of the grammatical things. Again, we also saw. So these are the names of people. Who are these people? Tanaka-san,
Tanaka-san.
Raja-san.
Raja-san.
Devi-san.
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 Raja-san, right? We're adding san,
Raja-san.
which is indicated as a suffix.
Indo.
Indo.
Indo,
Nihon.
Nihon. Indo-Jin.
Indo-Jin.
Indo-Jin. As I pointed out, Jin is a suffix, right? To indicate a national of that country. Then,
Go.
Nihongo.
Hongo, where go is a suffix added for language.
Language.
Watashi.
Watashi,
Anata.
anata. Yes, you, anata. You add O in front of many words, we'll be learning which words. Don't use it haphazardly. You should know which words to use it for. We'll see that. Then we saw the word for name.
Namae.
Mae,
Kakse.
Kakse.
Sensei.
Sensei. Watashi
Watashi
tachi.
watashi,
Tachi.
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 This is tachi. Ne, Tanaka-san tachi, sensei tachi, gakse tachi. Ne, the students. If I want to be very clear that I'm talking about a plural number of students, I can say gakse tachi, ne, sensei tachi, ne, and so on. And of course, you know these.
I.
And
Ie.
Ie.
fantastic.
Ie.
Now, what we're going to do, I'll just show you one more thing. We're not going to read this here. I just want you to read the title. Matome means summary. We're going to read a conversation. Every lesson has a conversation. This is a summary of that conversation. We're not going to read the summary in class. See, your textbook has limited materials, and everybody needs extra reading practice when you're learning kana and kanji. So matome is a portion of the text that I will not do in class. It is for you to practice extra reading on your own. So every lesson, we will finish the conversation. Practice reading matome at home. Don't do it right away. Now, again, in class, it'll be very easy. Come back to it after 4 or 5 days. Maybe before we start the next lesson, you should open up the textbook and read the summary. Read the matome. What we're going to do in every class is, we'll be reading the kaiwa or conversation. Conversation in Japanese is?
Mashite.
What is the topic of lesson 1?
Hajimemashite.
Hajimemashite, ne? Pleased to meet you, right? There are going to be some characters who are meeting each other for the first time. There's a box here on top of every lesson. It is a box which has a few sentence examples that illustrate the core grammar points of that lesson. Right? Each of these sentences just illustrates what grammar we see in that lesson. Again, I'm not going to read this in class. If you want, you can take a look. This is designed for review. When you finish the course, when you come back, when you want to review what we learned in C1 before your exam, some of you may be writing the JLPT or something. This is very useful for that. It gives you a bird's eye view for each lesson. What we are going to read is the conversation itself. In the future, I will be calling out people and individuals to read independently. But in the beginning, when you're still not comfortable with kana, I know it can be scary. So we will read together, one sentence at a time. Is it okay? Daijoubu desu ka? Great. So now you know, desu ka, ne? Daijoubu desu ka? Ne? Daijoubu desu. Hai. So we're going to have the dramatis personae that we saw, the tojo jinbutsu, the characters. They're coming together and meeting in class. They're also Japanese language students. So this is them introducing themselves to each other. The first person is
Devi.
Devi-san.
Devi-san.
What does she say?
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Excellent. I'd like everyone online also, you unmute and please read together so you feel comfortable with reading. Second is
Raja-san.
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 Ohayo gozaimasu.
He also Ohayo.
Gozaimasu.
It's the rule, right? Japanese culture, always start with aisatsu. Always start with a greeting. And the first response to any greeting would be a greeting again. Now, after they have said their greetings, Devi-san introduces herself. What does she say?
Watashi wa Devi
Devi desu.
Devi desu.
Devi desu.
Namae wa nan desu ka?
Namae wa nan desu ka?
Onamae wa nan desu ka? What is she asking? What is your
What is your name?
very polite? What is your name? Ne? Watashi wa. I'm baby. What is your name? Oh, namae. What does Raja-san say?
私の
Watashi no namae wa Raja-san
Namae
Raja desu.
ラジャス、
Raja-san.
Nihongo no gakusei
ラ
desu.
ジャさんじゃない、ラジャドス。
There's no son. He's introducing himself. Watashi no namae wa
私の
namae wa Raja desu.
ラジャです。
日本語の
Nihongo no gakusei
学
desu.
生です。
Nihongo no gakusei desu. What's he saying?
Japanese student.
Japanese student.
Japanese language student.
My name is Raja. I'm a Japanese language.
Student.
Nihongo no gakusei desu. How about Miss Baby? What does she say next?
Sensei wa Indojin desu ka?
先生は、インド
Indojin
人
Desu ka?
desu ka? What is she asking?
Is
Very good.
Sensei Indian?
Is the teacher
Is Indian.
Indian? Is the teacher an Indian person?
Yeah. No.
Sensei wa Indojin desu ka? What does Raja-san say?
いえ、
Ie Indojin de wa arimasen. Nihonjin desu.
あります。
Nihonjin desu.
Desu.
Yes.
The question is, Sensei wa Indojin desu ka? As for the teacher, is he or she? That's another thing. In Japanese, there's no way to tell if the person you're talking about is a man or a woman, which is fine, I suppose, not a big deal. So is the teacher an Indian person? Raja-san saying, no, Indojin de wa arimasen. Not an Indian, Nihonjin desu. Raja is not repeating, Sensei wa Indojin de wa arimasen. Sensei wa Nihonjin desu. He's not saying Sensei wa every time, right? He's omitting it because the topic is the same. Same Sensei. Now, you know that the Japanese person is going to be the teacher. In the next part of the scene, you have the teacher coming in. Who is it?
Tanaka-san.
Tanaka-san. Now, you can also call her Tanaka Sensei. She's the teacher. So she also starts with
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Ohayo gozaimasu. Again, aisatsu. First thing is always greeting. Ohayo gozaimasu. Raja-san says,
おはよ
Ohayo
うございます
gozaimasu.
Ohayo gozaimasu. Very good. Now, how does Tanaka-san introduce herself?
Watashi wa
Watashi wa Tanaka
田
desu.
中です
Tanaka desu.
Nihongo no sensei
日
desu.
本語の先生です
Nihongo no sensei desu.
Excellent. Watashi wa Tanaka desu. Nihongo no sensei desu.
Desu.
I'm Tanaka. Very good. I'm a Japanese language teacher. What about Raja-san?
私はラジャです。
ラジャです
はじめまし
Watashi
て。
wa
はじめ
ラジャ
どうぞよろしくお願いします。
Yoroshiku.
お願いします
Very good. Watashi wa Raja desu. I'm Raja. Hajimemashite. Pleased to meet you. Dozo yoroshiku onegai shimasu.
お願いします。
Please take care of me. Please take care of me. Next, it's Baby San's turn. Dozo.
は
Please
じ
go.
めまして
はじめまし
Hajimemashite.
て。
私は
私はデイビ
デイ
です。
ビーです
デイビです。
私たちは
私で
学生で
私
す
たちは学生です。どうぞよろしくお願いします。
Very good. Hajimemashite. Pleased to meet you. I'm Devi ne. Watashi wa Devi desu. Watashi tachi wa gakusei desu. We are students. We're your students. Dozo yoroshiku onegai
お
shimasu.
願いします。
Please take care of us. And Tanaka-san politely responds,
どうぞ
よろしくお願いします。
yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Now, every time we use this expression, you need not add dozo. Dozo is something you usually do only at the end of a self-introduction. You don't need to add dozo when you respond to it or in other circumstances or situations. As you might notice, before I start class or while I'm interacting here with the team, we'll just say yoroshiku onegaishimasu. We won't say dozo every time. Dozo is kind of maybe only at the end of the self-introduction. Hai, daijoubu desu ka? I will quickly just share this slide as a kind of summary of what we've seen in this lesson. As far as the grammar part is concerned, we'll just see what that is. Mata.
Sumimasen, ma'am.
Yes?
Yeah, I have a small clarification.
Dozo, please go ahead. Yes?
Kotobo, lesson 1.
Yes?
Yeah, we had read this Tanaka-san, Raja-san, Devi-san names. So
Yes,
in
yes.
that next to Japanese language,
Hi.
Nihongo, then next word may know this.
In kotoba.
Yeah, page number 9.
Yeah, Nihongo. Then below that it says go. Is
Go.
that the one? Yeah?
Okay, what is this? Go.
Go is when we add it as a suffix to the names of some places or countries, it indicates the language of that country.
Okay. Yeah, like Japanese language, Nihongo.
Nihongo, yes. But in the case that a country doesn't have one language, like India, then you can give the name of the language directly and add go, like Tamil go, Hindi go, and so on.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. Any other questions? Daijoubu desu ka? Hi.
Sensei,
Yes.
I have a question.
Dozo.
For watashi, if we say watashi, it will be ha sensei, but sometimes does it also say wa?
In which case?
For
Watashi wa Tanaka desu. Watashi wa.
wa, like wa.
Like watashi wa sensei desu. In which case?
Like sensei wa, this one. Like,
Yes, yes. So anytime this wa appears after a noun, a word, it's always wa. It's actually the particle. So in that case, it's never going to be ha.
but for watashi wa.
That's also wa. They're all wa. We'll always say wa every time because it's the particle wa. Is it okay? Hi. So started with the wa particle. Yes, the topic marker, and we looked at 2 sentence types, affirmative and negative. And then, of course, self-introduction. As a part of that, we saw the no particle, which can be used for 2 things. 1, indicating the group or category of something. 2 is indicating ownership, possession. And lastly, when we want to make questions, right? Ka particle at the end. Onamae wa nan desu ka? Nihongo no gakusei desu ka? You can even use it for arimasen. Gakusei de wa arimasen ka? Are you not a student? And so on. So this is just a kind of recap. If you have any questions, grammar-wise or anything, you can ask now.
So
And
can
last-
we ask wakarimasu ka?
Hi, daijoubu desu. You can say that, yes. Wakarimasu ka? Do you understand? So ka can be used with all kinds of sentence types. So far, we have learned only this sentence type in proper, that is, e wa bi desu ka? But any other kind of sentence type, if it's a complete sentence, it may end with masu. You can add ka to make it a question. So, wakarimasu ka? Or hajimemasu ka? Owarimasu ka? You can ask. But the meaning will be a bit unclear. So it depends on the situation. Hi. Any other questions? Hi. So we have a few minutes left. So I thought I would ask a few brave souls to do self-introduction. Now, tomorrow, I'll tell you in advance, right? I'm not going to be mean. I'll tell you in advance. Tomorrow, I'm going to ask some of you to do self-introduction. In fact, all of you to get into groups and do self-introduction as a recap of today. But for today, I would like maybe a few volunteers to come forward and do self-introduction. Yes, I'll maybe 2 or 3 people online, 3 people online and 3 people in person. I'd like for you to come forward and stand here. Yes? Tomorrow, I'm going to ask everybody. Today, I would like volunteers. It's okay if you make mistakes. I'll put up the self-introduction thing on this. I'll put up the slide. So you can read off of that if it makes you feel better. Yes? Yeah. Yes. Can I have some volunteers? Maybe we'll start with online.
May I?
Hi, Madhumita-san, is it?
Yeah.
Hi, please go ahead. 1 second.
はじめまして。
はい。
私はまどみたです。
Hi.
ど
Before
うぞよろし
we have to give a aisatsu, right? The greeting.
あ、
Hi. So, konnichiwa, konbanwa, something like that.
OK。
Hi.
Shall I
どうぞ
start again?
Yes, you can start from the top.
こんにちは。はじめまして。私はまどみたです。どうぞよろしくお願いします。
Hi, fantastic. Arigatou gozaimasu, Madhumita-san. Yes, can we have a round? Hi. Yes. So first, brave soul. Yes, one volunteer here. Hi, dozo. You can wear this. Or just hold it, yeah.
こんにちは。はじめます。はじめまして。私はアディティです。どうぞよろしくお願いします。お願いします。
Excellent, Aditi-san. Arigatou gozaimasu. Dozo. You can sit. Yes, one more volunteer online.
May I?
Hi. Yes, please go ahead.
May I?
Shantanu-san, is it? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
こんにちは。はじめまして。私はシャントヌです。日本語の学生です。どうぞよろしくお願いします。
Hi, fantastic. よろしくお願いします。ありがとうございます。See? It's like ripping a band-aid. Once you get into it, it's very easy. Yes? One more volunteer in person. はい、どうぞ。Or maybe you can stand there.
こんにちは。はじめまして。私は吉田です。日本語の学生です。どうぞよろしくお願いします。
ありがとうございます、吉田さん。よろしくお願いします。はい、one more volunteer. Last volunteer online. Yes? You can either raise your hand or you can unmute and speak.
Ma'am, can I?
Vanisha-san, right? Yes, please go ahead.
Konnichiwa.
Hi.
Konnichiwa. Hajime mashite. Watashi wa Vanisha desu. Nihongo no gakuse desu. Douzo yoroshiku onegai shimasu.
Hi, fantastic, Vanisha-san. ありがとうございます。はい、よろしくお願いします。はい、excellent. One last volunteer. Yes? No? Just scratching? One last. Yes? はい、どうぞ。
こんにちは。はじめまして。私の名前はニベディタです。日本語の学生です。どうぞよろしくお願いします。
はい、ありがとうございます。はい、よろしくお願いします。Wow, excellent. Okay, so that was very good. I was worried nobody would be feeling ready, but it's so good. So we'll wrap up now. Any questions before we close? Daijoubu desu ka? Hai. So I just want everyone to take a minute and appreciate again how far you've come. We're speaking sentences now. So, otsukare-sama deshita. Hai. Hai. If there are any questions, a gentle reminder, your homework can be found in Hayakawa login. Yes? If you go into the login, there will be lesson exercises. And you will be able to type the answers and practice there. I will be able to check your answers also. Actually, there's auto check, but it may mark some things as incorrect. So then I will check and make sure it's fine. So please, as I said, Renshu, do it in your textbook as soon as you can. Exercises, do it later in the week. Yes, just for practice. For lesson 1, you can do that. Tomorrow, we'll be looking at lesson 2, which also has a little bit to do with self-intro. But more than self-intro, we're going to learn how to introduce other people. Yes, so we're going to gradually move forward like this. I hope you're all as excited as I am for that. Yes. Hi.
In Google Classroom, I'm unable to log in with the classroom.
Oh. You're not able to join? Okay. We can resend the invitation, or actually, I think you should be able to. Did you try the link? The one in the email? And it's not, you're still not able to. Okay, we can check with the admin team. Just maybe right after class, you can check downstairs. I think Kashi-san should be able to help you. Only the two of you? Anyone else having trouble with Google Classroom? Yes, is it okay? And also in Google Classroom, I had posted some homework this week. I saw many of you did, but some of you still haven't. It's okay if you haven't completed, please do it this weekend. Yes, you need to be comfortable with Kana before we move on. As you can see, we're reading sentences. If you slow down at this pace, it's going to be difficult. So please catch up and do the homework so that it gives you extra practice, both for typing and for reading. Hai. Dewa, I will see everyone again tomorrow. Mata ashita. Arigatou gozaimasu.
ありがとう。
ありがとう。
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。はい。はい、どうぞ。